Hello Internet, welcome to Bookworm Reviews. I'm your host, the Bookworm, and it's our 10th episode! What? It's a big deal for me. Not only for getting this far, but to do this 10 weeks straight. Well, I feel a little bit of celebration is in order. Since it is the beginning of August, I thought it would be fun to do our first theme month. But what to theme it on? How about one of my favorite subjects of all time?
Dragons.
That's right, dragons. I love me some dragons. They are one of the greatest things created by mankind ever. No one is quite sure how dragons came about, or how so many cultures have similar depictions without previous contact. Several have said that dragons are a combination of animals to stay away from by our ancestors, and our imagination just formed them into one beast. But what I love most is just how much diversity has come from dragons. From the old folklores from the East and West, to their use in fantasy and sci-fi, and how people can still make new stories based on them today. So for this month, we will be looking at 5 books that use dragons as an important plot and or a character element. Where else to begin but with one of my all-time favorite series. Sit back and relax as we dive into His Majesty's Dragon, the first book of Temeraire by Naomi Novak.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view. No.
A low buzz of conversation was spreading as the officer is a part of the alternate history fantasy genre, which is essentially playing Mad Libs with history. The concept of it, I won't lie, is nothing but pure genius. What if, during the Napoleonic War, they had an air force, and said air force was made with dragons. Awesome! Do I need to explain more? Well, I still need to talk about the actual plot and whether the story delivers, but seriously! Air Force dragons!
Shut up and take my money!
Okay, enough drooling. What is the story about? It's about Navy Captain William Lawrence, who finds a dragon egg after defeating a French ship, but it is about to hatch before they can give it to the British Aerial Corps. Not wanting to lose the dragon when it hatches, Lawrence organizes a raffle to pick who will harness the dragon. But when the dragon hatches, it doesn't take an interest to the picked man and chooses Lawrence instead. Lawrence names him Temeraire, but knows he will have to give up his stance with the Navy and join the Aerial Corps, which most of English society views below them, including Lawrence. But he begins to form a bond with Temeraire, making him see a world beyond his own. This is what makes His Majesty's Dragon stand out. Not just the fact it's about Air Force dragons or the world building, but the relationship between Lawrence and Temeraire. I have never seen such an amazing bond between two characters. Seeing Lawrence starting out hating this life-changing moment, but doing it in duty to the crown, to a friendship that forms naturally, where you see they would make sure no harm happens to one another. The moments where the two are just talking are simply heartwarming. The book itself is just the perfect debut novel. If I were to describe this novel in one word, it would be detailed. Its world is vast, the characters are complex, and you really invest in the story. You feel the love and attention Naomi has put into this world, and it shows everywhere. We are given enough information to introduce the idea of Air Force dragons, how British society views them, how dragons are treated, the different breeds, how they are used to fight, but also leaving a few hints of the larger world that will lead to sequels. You never feel overwhelmed at all. Everything is introduced to us in nice little bits to make sure we know what is going on without breaking the immersion. The supporting cast is also huge, but huge enough. There are many supporting characters within the book, and if I were to say something negative, it would be it could get confusing remembering all the characters, even if some are only used for like one chapter. But there are many that stand out, from the bombastic Captain Berkeley with his regal copper Maximus, to the determined Harcourt with her long-winged Lily, John Granby, Jane Rowland, Emily, Leovitas, the sweetest dragon ever, Rankin, the worst human being ever, and so many more, all with great characterization and personalities that just adds to the plot. The plot itself is a common fish-out-of-water story, seeing Lawrence adapt to Aerial Corp life where society doesn't look up to them, cause dragons are such beasts. Through the Corp itself, they at several points make Lawrence feel out of place, cause most who train at the Corp started out as kids around 7 years old, and had to wait years for their dragon, while this old man gets one of the rarest breeds in the world without any training? The nerve. All while facing the gloom of Napoleon planning something big that could end the war, pushing the Corp to its limits, and forcing Lawrence and Temeraire to fast-paced training that pushes them to their limits. It is very well paced, it rarely drags, and time passes by pretty fast. The book itself spans about a year, and seeing the development between Lawrence and Temeraire is really enjoyable. This is alternate history fantasy at its finest. Whenever I start a series, this is my comparison on how well a series starts. This does everything right, introducing the plot, having great characters, building an impressive world, while leaving room for the many sequels to explore the world and Lawrence and Temeraire's relationship. But those are reviews for another day. I should make note that the copy I have here is Temeraire in Service of the King, which collects the first 3 books in one volume. It's a great jumping on point for new readers to dive into this amazing world, and one I highly recommend. Dragon Month continues with awesome. I love the film. And you know the rule of thumb, the books are always better than the film. So till next time, have a nice day.